So, last time I did one of these videos, I did one on left-handed keytars, and since then, I've been assembling all of my left-handed keytars because I'm putting together my football team of keytars. Now, before I had showed you the Poly 800, the Korg Poly 800, behind it, I've got the Korg 707, which is a performance synthesizer from, I believe, 1986, 87. It was meant to be a performance synthesizer. And behind that, I've got the Yamaha DX100. Now, why do I call these the football team of synthesizers? Well, just like a football team, as far as synthesizers, how they differ from other ones, they don't have a neck. They also happen to be great synthesizers if you want to be somebody with a shoulder synthesizer and run around on stage, but you play left-handed, they're perfect for that. Now, I was going to do a whole video just on the Korg 707 because it's a performance synthesizer and I wanted to go into the features of it, but at the same time as I wanted to really get into why I really like this small series of synthesizers that I've started to collect. Okay. But I will start with the Korg 707 just to get started, okay? Now, how the Korg 707 differs from the Poly 800 is it is an FM synthesizer and not a analog synthesizer. So here is your Poly 800. Beautiful sound, gorgeous bass lines, really nice patches. Same deal with the Korg 707. It came out a couple years later. It also has the strap buttons on it. But the biggest difference is it's an FM synthesizer. It's not an analog synthesizer. It's making it sound with oscillator, not with oscillators, with operators. The coolest thing is what they give you to what they give you on this control panel to edit your sound are a timbre right there. Hold on. You have a timbre slider. You have two envelope generator sliders, and you have a volume slider. You have your bend mod and your mod wheel. Ooh, maybe I should turn that down. All right. I hate when your mod wheel is all out of place, and then when you start to play, you're totally out of key and you don't even know it. So, the cool thing that I'm gonna say about this being a performance synthesizer and the Poly 800 being a Korg synthesizer, the coolest thing is the big difference is this is more patches. You could find one or two cool bass lines on that to play on stage. But if you want to play awesome leads, I would totally suggest the Korg 707. The biggest difference, though, on both of these, I'd have to say, is how you edit your noise, how you edit your sound. And at least this one has a sequencer. This one does not have a sequencer, but it does have a sound card to where you could save all your patches on a sound card, which is really awesome. Now, I was gonna do a whole different video on this, the Yamaha DX100. Now, when I got the Yamaha DX100, I totally thought I was getting like a DX7 Keytar in Keytar form, but it's not really a DX7. It's more of a Yamaha FB1. The Yamaha FB1, it's a small rack synthesizer that they made in order to have FM synthesis, but not with the large price of FM synthesis, okay? I would not suggest this either for doing leads. I would suggest it for bass lines. It's got like such hard, thick, heavy resonance in it. It's also an FM synthesizer, so I did want to compare it to the Korg 707. But the biggest difference with this and the Korg 707 is you could change your algorithms in this. You've got up to 8 different algorithms that you could change. in this FM synthesizer. The Korg 707, you only have your timbre and your two envelope generators to play around with. But the biggest thing you really want to aim for when you're looking for old synthesizers is sound. Oh, don't mind me, I'm dressed in my kitty. I'm dressed in my kitty riding a slice of pizza because I gotta go to work after this. I'm working the night shift tonight. I'm delivering pizza tonight, right after this. Alright. The coolest thing though that I could say about these synthesizers is that they all have strap buttons, so I could wear them if you have the need to go into a Keytar synthesizer lead. They're all pretty much good for that. But I honestly use the Poly 800 for patches. I use the Korg 707 for leads, and I would use the Yamaha DX100 for bass lines. Let's give it a try. That's the Poly 800. I'm going to use drums from my other keyboard, but basically it's just these three keytars. Now, originally when I was going to do this video, I was going to compare these two Korgs to their Vocas. Now honestly, even though the Poly 800 is an analog synthesizer, and even though the Korg 707 is an FM synthesizer, I can't honestly say that they are the grandmommy and grandpappy of the Korg Vocas. Even though the Voca Keys is also an analog synthesizer, and the Voca FM is also an FM synthesizer, they're not necessarily related, even though they're related in name. I believe that the Korg Vocas in and of themselves, they're in their class all their own. They give you the idea of having analog and FM synthesis in a modern day package, and they even give you the feeling of messing around with dials and faders as if you were back in time but in the future in some odd way. What I really, really love about the old gear, the Poly Korg and the Korg 707, is that you really do have to read the manual, where you really have to go into what the instrument was made to do. Okay, as far as the Yamaha DX100, I'm going to go further into that, and I'm going to compare it to the Yamaha FB101, because I've got both. I got them both because I wanted those patches from the DX7. Now, the Yamaha DX7, it's an iconic keyboard of the 1980s. You'll hear it on a lot of albums in the 1980s. The closest ones I can think of right now are like, Whitney Houston, like her breakthrough album, like half of that piano was like from the DX7. Now, I wanted those patches, and those patches do exist in both of those keyboards. It does exist inside the DX100, and it does exist inside this little rack FB1, but it doesn't have the entire like malleability of a DX7. You can't control the sound like you could on a giant keyboard DX7. Let's see, I'm off to work. I just wanted to talk about my love for these new Keytars. The whole deal is, one of my viewers is a left-handed piano player, and I wish I was a left-handed piano player. It'd mean my bass lines and my leads on my left hand would be better. But he asked me a question, what was a really good Keytar to play if they were left-handed? And I honestly did some big research on it. I went to the list of Keytars off of Google, and I looked at all the Keytars that didn't have a neck on them, and I decided to look at all the different features, and staying within the confines of my goal of playing 80s gear and playing the sounds that people played in the 80s, I looked for Keytars without necks. That would be awesome to play with the left hand if you were a left-handed keyboard player. One more thing before I go. Do you guys read? What is on your summer reading list? Right now, I am reading Synthesizer Programming, the ultimate reference for sound design. It's awesome. It reads like a textbook. I'm loving it. More than just using my musician's ear to program a patch, I really, really want to get into the whole idea of synthesis and the whole idea of learning how to make patches of my own, not just with my intuition in my ear, but I want to do it with hard work. Let's see, what else am I reading? I'm also reading the Keyboard Handbook. It's really for basics. It's really just to teach you how to read music. But honestly, there's a whole bunch of scales on there and arpeggio exercises in there. Even though they're basics, there's something a piano teacher would give you. I decided to like redo those. I really need the exercise. There's one more book I'm reading for the summer. Let's see. Electricity and Electronics. Teach yourself electricity and electronics. I am trained as an X-ray technician, which basically means I could take pictures like with an X-ray machine, but it doesn't mean that I could take the X-ray machine apart and put it back together. It just means I can operate it. I want to understand a little bit more about electronics, especially since I want to be a pretty good synthesizer player, and I want to learn how to program these a lot better. But that's my team that I'm assembling, my football team of Keytars. I hope everybody's being healthy and happy and safe out there. If you go out, wear a mask, wash your hands, think about the people in your life that you love, and take the time to spend time with them. Big hugs, health, happiness from Las Vegas.